Hi, campers. Welcome to a new week. Today, we're going to make stuffed bell peppers, and we are using impossible meat. And the cool thing about using this is that it is not meat at all, it is a meat substitute. You can do a lot of things with meat substitutes, and Impossible is one of the products that I really enjoy, as well as a few others. So, what we're going to learn today is how to chop and dice and to create a delicious meatless meal. Alrighty, so the first thing you want to do is make sure that your cutting board is set up. You want to put a wet towel or wet paper towel on your working surface, and then put your cutting board on top of it. This will ensure that your cutting board does not slide around when you are using your knife. The last thing I want to have happen is someone to get hurt while they are cooking. So safety first. Okay, so you get your cutting board, you get your paper towel or your towel, and then you place it on the counter. And here I have all of my ingredients assembled on my counter. Here we have one celery stalk. I'm going to do 2 peppers, one red and one green. And then we have our onion, our cheese, our spices, garlic, and the pan that we're going to cook them in today. Your recipe calls for 4 peppers, but since I don't have 4 people to cook for right now, we're just going to work with what we have, okay? And then I have my meat replacement in the bowl there. Lots of towels to use just in case you need them. And this is where we're going to start. You want to preheat your oven to 375. Turn your oven on to 375 right now so that when we are finished assembling all of the ingredients, it's all hot and ready to go. And you can just put it right there in the oven, okay? All right, let's start with the celery. Now, I like to work in manageable pieces, so that's why I have this short stalk of celery. If you have a big celery with the leaves and everything attached, you can still use it. I really enjoy the leaves of the celery, but I had celery hearts available to me today, so that's what we're going to use. And instead of cutting the whole thing, I just chop it in half. Put that to the side for a moment so that I can work with the smaller pieces. This is what you want to do whenever you have pieces that are just a little bit too big for you to manage and it gets overwhelming. You don't want it to get overwhelming, okay? So let's keep it simple and do it this way. So here I'm going to take a couple of lengthwise slices in order to make some smaller sticks. And then just do like this. Now, all of the vegetables are going to go right into the bowl with your impossible meat, okay? So we're going to just put that on in there as we go along. And you want to keep it uniform, but it's okay if you have some pieces that are a little bit bigger than others. It's never going to be exactly precise. So I don't want you to focus on that so much, okay? Now, this is a very large onion. I'm going to use half of this onion, maybe a quarter, depending on how it feels. Sometimes when you get big pieces, you just want to break them down to manageable sizes. And unless you happen to really love onions, you don't need to use the whole thing. But what you see me do is I cut it in half. I took the top and the bottom ends off, set it to the side, and this is going to go in my compost. And then I peeled out the outer layer. I have a little cut there. I'm not going to peel that off. That's fine. It's not discolored. It's not molded. It's just a little shaped differently. So I'm going to still use it. And I'm just going to take my knife here and do like this. My index finger is keeping the onion that's sliced stable. My thumb is holding the onion in place so that I can use a very seamless approach with my knife. And then here we go. Now, if you need to see that again, I'll cut the other side of the onion, even though I'm not going to use it in this recipe. And then that will go right there in the bowl as well. So cut the bottom off, the top, not too much, just the end. You don't want to waste a lot of onion. We want to make sure that we use the whole thing. And then start peeling off the layers. Right? Just peel away at it until you get to a spot that's nice. And there we have it. Okay? So we're going to start here. Using your index and thumb for stability, making sure you put your tip of the knife down on your board. And hopefully you are standing up while you are doing this task, either at a counter or at your kitchen or dining room table. Standing up gives you more leverage, better footing, so you can work. And then have your counter, you don't want it too high or too low. Again, stabilizing the onion and really only moving the knife. There you go. Beautiful. Now I'm going to go get a bowl to put this in because I'm not using this with this recipe. So let's get the bowl. We're going to just put that in there. Now, growing up, I used to eat stuffed peppers. It was one of the things that my dad loved to cook. He did it a little differently, and there are several ways to do it. Once you learn the method, you can put your own twist on it, and that's what I like to remind students all the time, is just because we do it a particular way, it doesn't mean that it can't be done in a different way. For instance, the one that my dad used was a tomato base, and he liked to put diced tomatoes like these in with the meat and then mix it in and then stuff the pepper that way. For some people, the tomatoes are too acidic. It gives them a little feeling in their tummy and it doesn't feel pleasant. So tomatoes are not always the way to go. You can do gravy, you can do spaghetti sauce. There's so many different things that you can do with it. Once you learn this basic way, this basic method, you'll be able to do it in so many different ways that suit your family's needs. And who knows, one day maybe you'll have like a little party where everyone is cooking and then you can customize each stuffed pepper. So this is a garlic press. I'm going to show you, it's my favorite tool in the kitchen. It was a gift to myself for a birthday years ago when I decided to really take my business to another level. So I bought it from a really fancy schmancy place to buy cooking stuff, and it's now forever with me. But here's how it works. You put the garlic in here, and then it comes out on the other side. Now, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a garlic press. There are cheaper garlic presses, more affordable, I should say. And you can go ahead and consider getting one, because when you do this, all of the oil from the garlic just comes right out, and it really does a beautiful job of mincing the garlic, and the oils are infused into your food. So it's really, really a fun tool. And then like the skin of the garlic, you just scrape out of there when you get ready to wash it, you know, and there's that. But if you don't have a garlic press, I'm going to show you how you want to cut you want to mince your garlic this way. using the back of your knife. It doesn't matter how big the knife is, but you just want to press down. Pressing down releases the oil, okay, and it smashes it, so it makes it a little easier to work with. And you want to just really release that oil out of that garlic. And then you just take your knife and run these tiny slices through in many directions. You really want to make sure that your garlic is tight and tiny. When you're eating certain things, you don't want a big old bite of garlic, particularly if it doesn't cook all the way. I put my hand on top of my knife here for stability. A lot of times we do things harder than it needs to be, but this is really just a fun way. If you have a big knife and you're not quite confident in using the big knife, then that's one way. But I have to tell you, it is a lot easier, in my opinion, to use a larger knife than a smaller one once you learn how to set yourself up with things like a cutting board that doesn't move, right? You're standing and you're firmly planted. Your counter or your table is at the right height. Then you can feel comfortable and confident in using a larger knife, because you have control over that knife. Nobody else has control over it but you. So we're going to smash it. And this is just mincing garlic. Your hands are going to get sticky because of the oils in the garlic. So don't be alarmed. It doesn't mean that the garlic is not good. It is quite the opposite. You should smell very garlicky after working with garlic. So, and then we just take it in all the directions. You just want tiny pieces of garlic. And I run my finger down the side like that to get it off. And at this point it's sticking a little bit because, again, the juice, the oil from the garlic is sticky. So after this, I'm going to put this garlic in the bowl and wash my hands and my knife so that it's not as sticky. Okay, be right back. And you should do the same. All right, so the knife is washed. We have all of these elements here already ready for you. And we're gonna get ready. So make sure, again, double check to see that your oven is turned to 375. All right. You want to make sure that it is hot when you put the bell peppers inside. So the next step is to wash your peppers. Bell peppers are tricky. They don't have a lot of places for dirt to hide, but there is just enough. There are enough spaces for dirt to hide so that it will be a little bit awkward. So we want to make sure that you check here and here when you're cleaning your bell pepper to make sure that it's nice and clean. And you will notice that the red peppers tend to be a little different than the green ones, right? The red peppers, surprise, surprise, are green ones that have stayed on the vine longer. So they grow longer, they change color in the sun. There are different varieties, so this isn't a hard, fast rule for all. But the conventional ones that you find in the stores, they tend to be those that started this way and stayed on the vine longer and were allowed to ripen. So these are sweeter than these. The red are definitely sweeter than the green, and then they have a longer shape. So don't worry about that as it relates to cooking them, because they still will come out delicious. Okay, you're gonna really enjoy them. Alrighty, so that's all about the bell peppers. So if you want to talk to your family and try out the different colors to find out which ones you like the most, because there are orange ones, there are yellow ones. My dad always got the green ones, and I think part of that was because the green are the least expensive. And when you have 4 kids to feed, you want to go with something that makes the most sense for your pockets. So the green it was. My dad also put rice inside of them. He would cook rice and then use that for the bell peppers. You guys, I'm double dutying. I had something in the oven for another class that I had to take out. But yeah, so he would use rice, and rice is a good addition to the stuffed bell peppers. But there are a lot of people who are either on particular diets and don't want to consume rice, or maybe they want it on the side. So I don't put the rice in mine, but you can choose to do so if you want to. So now we have our vegetables and our meat replacement in the bowl. We're gonna add our spices. So you should have in your kit some Italian spices, as well as garlic powder and onion powder. So what we're going to do is add that now. We're gonna put that in and use all of it because it's been measured out for you. So you want to use it all. So I just put it there in my bowl. And then you're going to take your bowl and do like this. Now, some people like to get their hands dirty. This is where it is appropriate. Excuse me. If you would like to dig in with your hands, go right ahead. It mixes in a little bit better. So if you were doing this with meat, some people add egg to it to bind it together. I find that it is not necessary with either the meatless or the meat version. It just isn't something that is needed unless you really want it to stick inside of the pepper. But I kind of like the juiciness that happens when you do not add the egg, because you want it to be flavorful. So let me give you the view up there again. You guys, I always have to get my water. You know, I drink a lot of water. So I was trying to find the cup I had. Hang on one moment. I'm gonna grab some water. Okay, we're back. So you got this all mixed in with your spices. And if you're going to switch it up and use either rice or tomatoes or something like that, this is when you would put it in right now. So you want to take your bell pepper and cut the top off, just the very top. And then pull out the inside. Now, fun fact, if you want to grow bell peppers, dry these seeds out and you can grow your bell peppers. So we're going to pull out all of the rib, the white stuff, or the light green stuff there. We're going to pull that out, pull it out. And if you want, you can use the top and put that back on at the end. So here we go. We've taken out the middle, right? Now we're gonna get a spoon and simply just stuff our pepper and pack it in. Pack it in. Now, for the super cheese lover, you stop here because they're going to want a mound of cheese on top, right? If you're just the average cheese lover, you can add more of the filling. And more of the filling. And then you want to put your mozzarella right on top there. And that is really all there is to it. This guy's going to go in the oven. The red one, since it's shaped a little differently, is going to be a little bit of a challenge. But I believe in you. It's also bigger. So those with the bigger appetites in the house would probably appreciate the red one. So you want to take it and stuff it into. These make a really, really cool dinner. So what I would do is I'd have maybe a side of beans and a salad to go with this. Just because I love beans. And then we're going to put the cheese on there. This is mozzarella cheese. And we need to let them be friends because of the size of the pepper. So they have to be next to each other. So what I want to show you is this pan is too big for just two, right? So consider using smaller pans. I have a smaller one like this, where there's just less space, you know? Now, another trick that my dad used to do is he would put a glass of water inside. So the glass will be creating a steam effect. Now you don't have to do this, but this is what I'm doing because I only have 2 peppers to cook and I want them to stand up. And the steam effect is really good. And this is safe because it's glass, it's just water, all of that. So the oven is preheated. You put it in and let it go. Let it hang out and be happy. And this is where you would take the time to do the cleanup. So let's talk a little bit about plant-based eating and cooking, because that's what we're doing today. And I know a lot of people might say, why are we focusing on this? You know, well, because there are several reasons why. Number one, eating more plants is really good for you. It is the foundation of life for you, and it will sustain you and give you all of the energy and tools that you need. There is nothing wrong with eating meat. Let me just say that for the meat eaters. If you have a preference that is, or an aversion because of your religious beliefs, the environment, the animals, all of that is wonderful. What we want to emphasize with these recipes is giving people an opportunity to try something different, because the less meat you eat, the smaller your carbon footprint, the fewer animals that die, and all that good stuff, right? So this is not a vegan meal because we're using cheese. But if you were to do this in a vegan style, there are vegan style mozzarellas that you can actually use that would work wonderfully with this. So it really is up to you. You can fortify this meal with adding beans to the plant-based meat mixture, flax seeds to bump up the fiber, ground flax. You can add more vegetables of your liking, all of these different things that can be added to this that can really make it your own for you and your family. So that's one thing to note. But we have to understand that eating more vegetables is crucial to good health. It really is. And then getting a combination of cooked and raw vegetables is where we find our optimal health. We know that vegetables have all of these vitamins and minerals that sustain us, And even those of us who eat meat and enjoy meat can relate and understand that most of the time we eat a little more than we actually need physically for our health and our bodies. So that's where learning plant-based dishes comes into place. That's where we get to find our sweet spot, so to speak. That's how we get to say, you know what, instead of having meat, because today is Monday and it's Meatless Monday, we can have a wonderful dish that will be filling, satisfying, delicious, and not have meat in it. So I'm really confident that we understand the choices that we have. Some of you may have had a meatless burger at a fast food restaurant or maybe at home. It is really a true experiment, a time to have fun and play around with your food, because playing with food is fun, right? Yeah. So we want to make sure that we have as many options as possible on the table. This is the type of dish that you can fancy it up. So let's talk rice, quinoa, potatoes, great side dishes, as well as something like beans or lentils, legumes, things like that. If you're on different sides of the spectrum, it just depends on how you're feeling. One way to do it, potatoes, you could do red potatoes where you boil them and then you cut them up and then pour some beautiful melted butter and fresh herbs with salt and pepper, and then that is your side dish. You can do the same thing with a pasta. Maybe you do a pasta with a marinara sauce, or maybe you do a buttered and Parmesan pasta. Maybe you want brown rice. There are so many options that you can do with this particular dish that I find incredible. And again, there's a couple of ways to do it. You can always do a brown gravy. You can make a tomato-based sauce and all of those types of things with this recipe. So it really is up to you. It's fully customizable, and just play around with it. If you have a garden and you have fresh herbs, add the fresh herbs. This is also one of those things that if you are, you have an event coming up, a family gathering, when we can get together again, this freezes really well. So what you would do is you would bake them ahead of time, cool them, wrap them up, and put them in a freezer-safe dish and put it in the freezer so that you could take it out for another time to eat with your family and friends. So just a heads up on that. If you find that there are some bell peppers that are on sale and you say, hey, what can I do with this? Freeze them, make a nice stuffed pepper, and then freeze it. So what we want to do is allow it to cook for about 15, 20 minutes, and then the end result is going to be fantastic. So you guys aren't here to ask me any questions because it's a playback, but I'm going to assume you have some questions. So let's start talking about what exactly plant-based meats replacements are. Depending on the brand and the maker, there are various things. Some are soy-based, meaning they come from the soya bean, which is also known as, like, tofu comes from the soya bean. Edamame is a soybean. So it's a highly processed version of soy. And usually, some people love it, some people hate it. It just really depends on their own personal preference. But there's that. Then there are some that are actually made with a combination of plants and grains. So you'll see some products in the market that are like burgers, where you actually see little pieces of broccoli and carrots and things like that, like rice. So that's a meat replacement as well. It doesn't taste like meat, because that's the difference. Some of the items, they taste like meat and some don't. What we're using today is really generated and created to take the replacement of meat, to actually look and feel and taste like meat. Not all meat replacements have that goal and design in mind. A lot of people who don't like meat don't even want to eat anything that looks or tastes similar to meat, because that's their preference. So there's that. Then you have other products that are made differently as well. So it's all in the thing. Like, have you ever heard of a black bean burger? Well, I made black beans, smashed them up, put some garlic, onions, spices in it. And then what else did I add? Oh, I think I added like flax seeds or something to kind of make it so it would stick together. And I cooked it like a burger. That's a meat replacement. And what you're getting when you get those is most of us do not eat enough fresh fruits and vegetables as well as beans and legumes. So if we are focused on eating those items first and the meat secondary, more than likely you'll get more than you have before and you will reach a goal. Did you know that the doctors want you to eat 6 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day? Mostly vegetables. Yeah. How many of you are really eating 10 servings of vegetables? A general serving is 1 cup. Some of us don't eat vegetables at breakfast, lunch, and then wait until dinner. And French fries don't count. They do, but not really. We're talking about eating fresh fruits and vegetables. Oh, look, I have something behind me I can grab. This is a serving. It's a pear. I eat this. This is 1 serving. Imagine eating 10 of these in one day. Do we? This is a beet. This is probably 1.5 servings because it's a big beet. You know, so you get 1.5 and 1, that's 2 servings, right? Let's say I eat this artichoke. That makes number 4. Blood orange, number 5. Potato, number 6. What is this? Peach, 7. You see where I'm going? Are you guys eating this many fruits and vegetables every day? Sweet potato, 8. No. The answer is no. More than likely, none of us are eating as many fruits and vegetables as we should every single day. So the whole concept of having a meatless meal isn't to feel deprived and missing your meat. It is to consciously choose to fuel your body with more fruits and vegetables because we all could use more. Every last one of us. Let's check on our, ooh, yeah. Our peppers are looking good. Okay, so how long does this take to cook again? You got a few minutes. Now, if you wanted to let it go until the cheese turned bubbly and brown, yeah, you got to let it go a little bit longer. But generally, this should take about 15 minutes. So let's get back to the servings. Let me see. What else can I find in here to show you? Do I need to open? Let me go to my refrigerator. Aha. I have some cherries in the freezer. So if you took a handful of these, that's 1 serving. So now we're at 8 or 9, yeah, of fruits and vegetables. What else do we have in here? Oh, I have Brussels sprouts. You need a cup of those. You need a cup of salad. So that's why it's important to consider replacing some meals throughout your week with just vegetables, a vegetarian option, because the majority of us are not getting the number of fruits and vegetables that we need. And really, what does it do? How does it help you to have more fruits and vegetables? Let's see. Helps you go to the bathroom. It's a little TMI, right? But you need the fiber. It works to clean your insides out, you guys. It really does. And if you're having trouble in the bathroom, then you probably need to eat more vegetables. It keeps your skin clear. Barring any other issues, you feel more refreshed. Your skin is vibrant. Why? Because you eat vegetables. Yeah. more energy. If you ever notice how you get tired after eating a heavy meal that consists of meat and maybe a heavy carbohydrate like pasta or potatoes, there's nothing wrong with either one of those. But what tends to happen is your blood sugar raises when you eat, and then your body starts to work a little bit harder to break down the food that you're eating. So that means it's going, and then, oh, it needs a break. I'm tired of processing everything that you just put into my system. So now you need to take a nap because you have just changed your body metabolically. Now, increments of raising blood sugars are normal when you eat food. What isn't normal is what happens when there's this sustained, consistent going up and down on the roller coaster of eating that I think we need to pay attention to. So when you are eating more fruits and vegetables, you get fuller faster, right? But you need to refuel more often. So that's why some people are like, I'm always hungry when I'm just eating fruits and vegetables. It's because your body is being its most efficient self and it's doing what it's supposed to do, and it's processing the wonderful food that you have put inside of it. We were not meant to eat and then be full for the next 4 hours. It just isn't. Now, 2 hours, 1.5, it depends on the person. But if you're eating whole fruits and vegetables, it's going to go through you. If you are using a lot of energy playing outside, then you are using all the fuel that you're putting inside your body, so you're going to need to refuel it. It's the same thing as if you're sweating because you've been exercising, you need to drink more water because you need to replace the water that you have lost while you're moving and you're active. So eat those fruits and vegetables, eat them often, and enjoy them in so many different ways so that you can experience that whole fullness of it all. I'm going to check our peppers, and you should check yours too to see how they're doing. Oh, it's looking good, guys. Just going to show you what mine looks like here. Look, it's starting to brown. Just another minute. I'm going to let it go just another minute. And if you're feeling skeptical about the timing of it, making sure that the impossible meat on the inside is cooked all the way, it's okay to poke it with a fork. Put a fork inside, check it, and then if it doesn't look like it's done all the way, then you can put it back in. But yeah, don't be afraid to poke around and see. So back to eating fruits and vegetables. Your aim, 10 1-cup servings, okay? That's your goal. That's your aim. And the serving should be a combination of cooked and raw, meaning have some raw carrots, some fruit, and cooked vegetables throughout your day. You don't really need to count it. I wouldn't count it, but I would just wake up every single day with the mindset that today I'm going to eat the most amount of fruits and vegetables that I can handle because my body deserves it. My mind is clearer. I have more energy, all because I'm eating more fruits and vegetables. That's what we should be thinking about. And it doesn't have to be a rule, a diet, a plan, anything like that. Don't let people confuse you. Just focus on eating the stuff that grows of the earth. Will make a huge difference. It really will. Your health will benefit from it. Drink more water and you're good to go. All right, I think it's time to stick the little fork in and test it just to see how we're going. So I'm gonna clear a space on my board and get a towel to sit my hot pan on. Now remember, when you're taking something out of the oven and it's really hot, protect your surfaces. Every counter, you can't put hot stuff on all types of counters. You can't put hot stuff on top of plastic cutting boards and things like that. You have to protect them. So you want to get towels, oven mitts, something like that to make sure that it's safe where it is. So I'm taking this out. And I'm going to grab a fork and show you how I'm testing it. Okay. So you want to just go in there. Oh, it's juicy. See, that's exactly what I wanted for it to be juicy. That's good. Well, it's done, but the bell peppers could be a little softer and the cheese a little browner. So technically you could eat it now, but I'm going to put mine back in the oven so that those two things can happen. And it will probably only take about 5 minutes for that transition to happen. And then you're good to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. Remember, make this recipe your own, okay? Make it your own with different types of vegetables, different types of peppers, cheeses. Once you know the method, you can cook anything. Anything. Okay, this is how stuffed peppers are done. It's super duper easy. Another way you could do it, if you want it to be really saucy, right? If you want it to be really saucy, you line up a pan full of peppers. You stuff them, and then you pour the tomato sauce all around the pan and cover it with foil and then bake it. That will make the peppers soft and juicy, and then you have a super duper saucy thing that will go and sit nicely on top of a pasta or something else. But again, it's the same process, okay? Exact same, nothing different. Tastes delicious. You can do this with plant-based meat. You can do it with tofu. You can do it with beans. You can do it with ground chicken, ground turkey, ground pork, ground beef, ground whatever. You know how to do it now. So I'm looking forward to hearing about how you actually put this into practice into your own kitchen. And I hope you have a good time with your family while you do it too and customize it for everybody. All right? Have a good day, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.